Hi, Darryl from Select Driving School here. Today I'm going to look at one of the popular routes on some of the driving tests in Halifax. It's a route going through Warley. The key things about this road are the initial turn into it, the fact that it's a national speed limit, it's the only piece of national speed limit that features on Halifax test routes, and then the fact that it gets very, very narrow and twisty down towards the town of Warley itself. So I'm going to take you through this. I'm going to explain as we go what we're looking for, what sort of gears we're using, what sorts of speeds we should be getting up to, and also how we should be looking ahead to make sure that it's actually safe to continue, and whether or not we should be allowing for oncoming traffic. I hope you find the video useful. If you do, please click like. If you'd like me to cover any more subjects in the future, then please contact me via my YouTube channel or my website, details of which you can see at the bottom. Thank you very much. So here we are travelling up towards Mount Tabor. We've come up Burnley Road from the test centre. We'd expected to get ourselves up to the 30-mile-an-hour speed limit and be using fourth gear by this point. Your instruction will be to take the next road on the left, which is just before the pub coming up. Now, the thing about this road is it is actually quite a bit of a steeper turn than you may realise. So second gear can do it, but you're probably better slowing right down for first gear so that you can take a nice tidy turn in, and that also allows for the possibility of parked cars just near the entrance to the junction, which might mean that you need to stop for traffic coming the other way. First gear is going to get you down to that sort of speed that allows you to take that action without any issues. We can see now the black and white national speed limit sign, so we need to build our speed up now past this. This is a 60-mile-an-hour road. Now, the examiners are not going to want to see you doing 60 miles an hour on this road. It is going to be pretty reckless to do that, but they would want to see you getting up into the mid-40s by the time you reach this corner coming up here where the blue van's parked. So we've just about got into the 40s, and now we're just easing off again for that first corner. After that, the road does start to get a little bit twistier and a little bit narrower. So down this hill here again, mid 40s, but now we've seen a horse, so we're slowing right down. I had got the car up into fifth gear by the time we'd got there. Nobody behind me, nothing ahead, so I'm moving right over, going past the horse slowly, keeping the car quiet, checking there's no hassle with the horses pulling in my mirrors, and then picking my speed up again. Now this section down here, we would be looking to just sort of early to mid 30s. We can see the warning signs, the road's getting narrower, we've got the deflection arrow telling us to stay well to our side of the road, and we've got the vegetation making everything feel a little bit more enclosed than it normally would be. So coming down here, not really going very much above sort of 35 miles an hour. Now looking across to the long wall, we want to be looking down there to see whether there's anybody approaching, because this point here that I'm just reaching now, you will tend to find you moving towards the middle of the road, as will the cars coming the other way. So if you see somebody coming up, you don't really want to be meeting them at that point, and you want to try and adjust your speed so that you get through just after them, waiting if necessary, or if it's appropriate, just before them. Now again, down this section here, it's still quite narrow, it is still a 60, so getting the speed up into the mid-30s at least, but then it drops down to a 30 just near the bottom, so the speed should come back down. There's a crossroads here, so not wanting to go too fast through that in case somebody pulls out, it is a bit blind. And then carrying on down here, the road follows to the left, so don't be misled, you're not carrying straight on ahead, you are going around this left-hand bend, and now we can see the road's got really narrow. So I'm currently in fourth gear because we're travelling downhill, we're near the 30 mile an hour speed, and as you can see the white line has disappeared, and we're moving a little bit towards the middle because we can see it's clear ahead. We can also see some pedestrians. We don't want to particularly get close to that wall if it's not necessary. It does tend to unnerve your examiner, but if we see anybody coming ahead, we would want to go a bit nearer and we would want to slow down. Speed limit's now dropping to 20, so bringing that speed down before we reach the 20 sign, dropping it down to third gear, and the parked cars are always on the left hand side here, so if another car approaches, you really are expected to try and find a gap, and there usually are plenty. So again, nice and steady, 20 miles an hour, no more, obviously because of the limit, and possibly a little bit less. Cyclists coming up here, we're just going to let them come through. They're on a tandem, they are going a little bit steady. It'll be quite hard for them to get going again, so we'll let them through, show them thank us, and then carry on. This left-hand bend here, again, always park cars on the left, so you want to be making sure that you're staying to your side as much as possible without getting too close. Use the windows potentially as reflections to see if anybody's coming the other way. Here it's the opposite, use the sides of the cars, look for reflected movement in them. That will give you a bit of a clue as to whether any traffic's coming the other way, and again, allow you to prepare for it. We've now got through Warley, a couple of cars parking there, so I'm going to see if it's safe to go past them. Looks like they are stopping, so we'll signal to go around them. Not sure if one's got a problem with the bikes on his back. So we got through there, it was clear, and now we're into a 30 zone, so we'll pick our speed up a bit, and then we're going to go down Windell Road Lane, which is where the minivan in front of us and the moped are just pulling out. Now again, the turn into here is quite narrow, and it sort of twists right and then left, so again, we don't want to be going too quick. We're going to tell people what we're doing, slowing it right down. Probably first gear is going to be the best gear here, which will allow you to take your turn properly, staying well to your side of the road. The wall's a little bit intimidating, but you do really want to tuck in just after it. And then Windell Road Lane itself is quite narrow. Usually there's a solid white line painted on the left here, which provides some refuge for pedestrians. You should stay outside of that line, unless, of course, like that taxi, cars make you move over it. If that's the case, that's fine to do, as long as there's obviously no pedestrians there and you get back outside of it once the road is clear again. As I say, the white line's not there at the moment, but we know roughly where it should be. So that is travelling through Warley from Mount Tabor. What I'm now going to do is do the route in the opposite direction, as that will also feature on some of the test routes. So now we're travelling up Windell Road Lane. The speed limit on this piece of road is 30 miles an hour, but everything I said about coming down it is still relevant. It is quite narrow. Pedestrians sometimes will be walking on the road. You've got some blind entrances on our left. You can see they've got the little mirrors to try and help them get out. So you don't want to be rushing up here overly quickly, but at the same time you don't want to be crawling up. Somebody coming down a bit quick, so I just eased off my gas so that I'd got time to react in case he did come a bit too much towards me. We're going to go left at the end. Now the thing here is that people coming in will sometimes swing quite wide, so you've just got to be looking up to your right, see if anybody wants to come in, and seeing if they're going to wait for you, which they will sometimes do, or be able to tuck in without getting in your way, or whether in fact they're already committed to a wide turn and you may actually have to wait. This section of road down here, relatively wide, it's a 30 mile an hour limit, so we're just going to get ourselves through the gears. I've got myself up to 5th gear there, and I'm just off the gas, letting the car trundle its own way in. Dropping back down to 4th because we just need a little bit more control. And now we're into the 20 zone. This car really won't do 20 very comfortably in 4th gear, so we're down to 3rd gear, which is going to keep us nice and docile, keep the speed under control. So coming the opposite way, now the parked cars are on the other side, so we're really just on alert for anybody coming round who may be going a little bit too wide or a bit too quick, and obviously being prepared to wait for them if it doesn't look like they've properly anticipated our approach. Looking up beyond the parked cars to see if anybody's coming down and is already committed. If they are, we may want to wait even though the obstruction is on their side. But other than that, looking reasonably clear at the moment. So we're leaving a good metre gap towards that wall, nice and central between the parked cars and the wall. Now it's a 30 zone, so gently start to accelerate, build the speed up towards that. And again, the white line is not there at the moment because it's so narrow. Looking well ahead, it is clear, so it is okay just to use a little bit more away from the wall rather than squeezing right up close to it. But now the white line's appeared, so we really should make sure that we're in between the white line and the wall. And still looking as much around the bend as we can, really expecting that traffic could come. Following that line there, so not cutting the corner. Couple of junctions coming up, these are the ones we saw on the way down. Better view from this angle. And now we're back into the 60 zone. Now, depending on what kind of car you're driving here, there's the horse again, so we'll slow down for her. Get it back into second gear, and there's the cyclists again. So we're not going to go past them until we can give them enough room. Nobody trying to overtake me. You give cyclists as much room as you would a car, if not more if it's possible. And then we're accelerating up here. So again, we're looking up towards the left-hand side to where that bend goes to see if anybody's coming down. Because as I said before, if they are coming down, you don't want to meet them just where this white and black sign is. The wall comes in, people will go over the centre line in both directions. There isn't room for two cars to pass. Now, as I was saying earlier, depending on what kind of car you're driving will depend on just how well you can accelerate up here. We're in third gear at the moment. Now we're in fourth gear, and as you can see, we can pick the speed up into the mid-40s. We can see it's quite clear up here. Nobody coming the other way, no pedestrians, no cyclists, no horses. Now we've got plenty of momentum, get it up into fifth gear. And as we come over the top here and it levels out, we can make even a bit more progress on this last bit. It's travelling slightly downhill now, and potentially in this section here you will get into the 50s, but we can see the yellow sign, we can see that we're coming back into a 30 zone, so starting to reduce that speed, making sure that the speedometer is reading 30 miles an hour as we pass the sign, not after it, and not slowing down well below 30, because we want to try and keep up with the speed limit where we can. Now this brings us back to the crossroads. We're going to be turning right at the crossroads. View's not particularly good until you get there, so slowing right down, coming to a stop, you get pretty good view left and right at this point, and then commit to the turn when you can see it's clear. And then basically you just carry on down Burnley Road, which is around about 2 miles before you get back to the test centre, and hopefully pick up your pass certificate. So I hope you found that useful. Good luck. As I said, if you want to have any subjects covered in the future, then visit my YouTube channel or my website or my Facebook page and ask me there. Thank you.